Okay, online. Can't tell. Okay. Hi, Aurel. It's at 3 a.m. where you are? Are you in Dubai? Thank you for joining me. And I understand if you have to go get some sleep. I tell you, it seems like, yeah, you staying as cool as possible. Yes. I have two friends who went out to Dubai, and one stayed for, let me turn this phone off because they are not going to interrupt me tonight. One friend stayed for a year and did not want to come back. And another friend went out there for 3 weeks, and the one that stayed for 3 weeks lost about 25 pounds just from water weight and sweat, drinking lots of liquid. Oh, watching The Siege. Okay. I haven't seen that before. What is The Siege about? I said, what is this? Watching this? What is The Siege? You said you're watching The Siege? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, I saw that. I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. I've seen it. I've seen it twice. I had a hard time getting here. I tell you, it seems like every other evening when I have nothing to do but my normal routine, my phone does not ring. It's been ringing off the hook. I had a hard time getting out of just getting out of the office. I wanted to be home by 4 so I could set up and get online on time. We'll give everybody maybe a couple of more, maybe one more minute. 'Cause I'm just going to start. So, Aurel, is your entire family with you in Dubai? Nice. That's good. That's important. Driving you crazy? No, you need your family with you. If your family was not there with you, you would be sad. I'll tell you though, when I lived in Mexico for 2 years, I had a good time. Oh, you're trying to teach them how to save water? That's going to be difficult. When you come from the States and go to a place like Dubai, it's very difficult to transition over to water conservation. We waste a lot of water over here. I caught myself this morning. I had just washed dishes after having breakfast, and then I put the cup in the drainer, and then 5 minutes later, I went back to the drainer and rinsed it again. I don't know why I did that. Oh, you came from London recently. Okay, how was the weather there? Mm, mm-hmm. 2 years in London. Did you enjoy it? I've heard mixed reviews about living in London. Hmm. The rain and fog are Gucci. Okay, that would depress me. I will be extremely sad most of the time. Mm, I love smelling the greenery every morning. Yes, I could see that. That would be beautiful. Ariel, I'm going to start. I don't know where everybody else is, but that's okay. They'll see the recording later. And if you have to leave and go to sleep, I understand because 3 a.m. is grueling. But I came online because I wanted to answer the questions for people who had seen the Google Trends videos that I posted up 2 days ago. So I'll talk about that some more. If you have any questions about it or about anything, just jump in if you want to discuss something else. You said, well, I'm on a wired holiday, so I have a few minutes. Okay, sounds good. Well, since you're the only one here, do you have any questions? Did you get a chance to see the Google Trends video? Oh, you said it was weird. What was weird about it? Okay. Okay, no problem. So I promised to do a live stream to talk about what I posted, and the Google Trends videos talk about what a good start for people who want to sell products. And we're not. This is not for services. More things like purses or shoes or not even like even miniature toy cars. So a lot of times, what I have found is that people who want to start an internet business don't know what product to start. And a lot of times they'll start with products that other people may not be interested in. It may just be something that that particular seller likes or it's something that they think other people may like. But that decision and that opinion is not based on any kind of research. So the great thing about Google Trends is that you can type in any topic that comes to your mind and you can reference any state or any country in the world to find out the interest of that topic. And the videos that I displayed 2 days ago kind of talk about that in a lot of detail and more detail. So what I'll do or talk about is I'm gonna actually try to show my screen, but before I get there, I'll talk about the functional use of Google Trends. Let's take a hypothetical. Well, actually, there's not a hypothetical because I'm doing this. I travel a lot for my job and I travel to different countries. And when I go, I see fascinating pieces of jewelry like this, which is just beautiful. I actually saw the craftsmen make this jewelry when I went to Senegal a few months ago. And let me hold it up so you can see it. And this jewelry is just so amazing. The craftsman had different colors and different emblems here. He actually had like the lower price line, which is what this is, and then he had a higher price line that had turquoise in the middle and opal. So what I do is I take jewelry like this and I modify it. So I'm currently currently working with someone on Alibaba, an Alibaba supplier, and we'll talk about that in another video. Just kind of follow me a little bit. So I'm working with a supplier to provide me with 4 different versions of this necklace. And each version is going to have 3 tiers of pricing. So there'll be the lower price tier, which is what this represents, and then we'll go up in price based on the material. Now, before I did that, I actually went to Google Trends to find out how popular jewelry was. I typed in jewelry in the United States, jewelry in Georgia. I typed in jewelry in Atlanta, San Francisco. I typed in jewelry worldwide on the search and the search factors for Alibaba. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the previous 2 videos and I go through an explanation of how you use those search factors. And I found that has a very high interest. Like it consistently has a high interest over the 50 mark. And if you go back to the video, remember anything 50 or over is a pretty consistent bet for selling that product. So jewelry had a very high mark over 50. And then craft jewelry, such as this, or things that can be seen as handmade, had a mark of about, I don't know, that jewelry had a mark of about between 55 and 65. So it was pretty good. Another product that I'm making are purses like this. Now, a friend of mine saw this purse, actually purchased this purse for me in Ghana. And I liked it so much. I wasn't sure how it would go over here. So I walked around with it and I just I wore it with different outfits, a nice dress. One day I wore this purse with this necklace and got a lot of attention, a lot of compliments. People love stuff like this. So I decided to go back to the same supplier and ask the supplier to give me maybe about 2 or 3 more purses similar to this, different styles, slightly smaller. And we're working on that right now. But before I did that, again, I went back to Google Trends and I typed in the search engine to find out how popular this would be. And it comes in over the 50 mark. So I think a lot of times when people are attempting to start their internet businesses, they're hoping that the product that they want to sell will have an interest to other people. But without that data, without finding out how many people and what your market may be or your target market may be, you can end up wasting a lot of money if you don't do a little more research. So I highly recommend that people use Google Trends just for that purpose. Before you do anything else, I would say play around a little bit, type in different products. Now, here's something. Sometimes it's difficult for people to walk away from their original idea. Okay? So your original idea may be, let me just say tennis shoes, purple tennis shoes. You like purple tennis shoes, and so you want everybody else to like them also. Why wouldn't they, right? So you go and you spend between $5,000 and $10,000 on products and advertising and beginning to sell, and you may sell just one or two to people who are just as eccentric as you are about purple tennis shoes. All right. Google Trends will help you take a significant amount of the guesswork out of whether or not that product is worth developing. But here's the flip side. I don't know if you all saw. Oh, that's true. You're right, Orel. LinkedIn is also a really good, awesome tool to grab pre-market stats. It is. It is. The person you heard on my previous video, Kareem, the digital marketer, he uses LinkedIn all the time, along with Google Trends. I have not used LinkedIn yet, but Kareem talks about it all the time. So now, if you remember, I don't know if anybody remember a few videos back, maybe about a month and a half ago, I talked about a hair barrette that I was making that I had purchased in India and was trying to modify. So the hair barrette was metal, and metal doesn't do well with this kind of hair, or really any kind of hair. It tends to break and snap the hair. So I was getting a supplier in China to take that barrette and give me the same design, the same color, and the same style with a few modifications, but to add to it, but to modify it and make the connection so it snaps wood or really soft plastic or rubber. And they're actually sending me copies, or I guess you say templates or prototypes of what I requested, and we should be here in 2 weeks. And when those come, I'm going to show you the original barrette and what I've modified it to. And then I'm going to post up a website just for barrettes, and then do some SEO marketing and see what happens. Now, if you type in barrettes in Google Trends in the search function, it does not have a very high interest rate. Actually, I'm sorry, interest. It actually goes maybe 10 to 15 on the scale of from 0 to 100. So 10 to 15 is not good. But I'm making a bet that because women love purses, I'm sorry, necklaces and purses, that my barrettes can be used as an accessory to the necklaces and the purses. It's all in how you market it. So in that situation, we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'm not going to put too much money in on the front end. I'm going to do a little experiment and see what happens. But the only reason I'm doing that is because I know that necklaces and purses have a very high interest interest factor in Google Trends. You said, Aurel says, let me know when you're working on custom chef jacket buttons. Tell me about that. Is there an interest for that? I've seen no such thing. But see, this is interesting. She would say that because those are the types of items that you don't have to sell a lot of to make a nice profit, because it's a niche market. So a very particular set of customer would look for something like that. I'm going to research that, Orel. I promise I will. I want to share my screen with you. Okay, I'm going to open up my other screen. Tell me if you can see this. If not, you said, well, if marketed well, whole hospitality groups would purchase bulk. I believe that. I believe that. Give me your recommendations. What type of marketing would do well for a hospitality group? Would it be direct marketing? Uniform related. Okay. I want to keep that in mind. Tell me if you can see my screen. Can you see this? I'm showing my Google Trends screen. If you can't, I need to change something else. Were you able to see that screen that I just pulled up? Nope. All right, let me see something. I wonder if I have to. Okay, I'm going to try something. Hi, Sonia. Okay, let me try something. It's nice to see you, Sonia. Okay, I'm pulling up. I'm going to try to pull up and share my screen with you all. I'm still here. Just give me one moment. Let's see if I can share this. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to try again. Okay, can you all see that? It says I'm sharing my screen. Did you all see that? If not, I'll have to work on this. So, Sonia, I was just telling Aurel. Okay, I'll have to figure that out. There's supposed to be a way that I could click over and share my screen, but it's not letting me do it. I'll figure it out later. But let me see if that's it. I can't figure it out, you all. I'll figure it out in a moment. But what I was just telling Aurel was that I asked him if he had seen the previous Google Trends video, and I was making some comparisons as to what would be successful. Some people attempt to start selling products without doing the research, and Google Trends gives you a good comparison across the country and across the world on whether or not that product is going to do well for you. And Sonia, I believe you went to the web to my video and you made a comment there. Did you watch both of the videos? Aurel, thank you. Aurel said these are the humble technical difficulties you will cherish and be amused by in the future. Yes, I will be. I will be. So I'm going to just take it easy and not get upset because it's not going to work. Oh, you just saw one. Okay. Give me your opinion about it. That's my very first video. You can be honest and brutal. It's okay. They will get better. Okay, you'll watch the next one tonight. Okay. Were you able to get anything from the video that you saw? Did you watch the one with Kareem, the digital marketer, or did you watch the one where I was going giving a demonstration? The first one had great content. Do you remember which one? The one with Kareem, the digital marketer? Okay, the one where I did the tutorial. Okay, good. I'm glad it had great content. Did you I'm not sure if you have an interest in selling a product anytime soon. Did you feel as if it gave you a good introduction to what the tool can do? Or what questions did it leave you with? 'Cause I'll have to say, when I first started using Google Trends, I just I had a hard time kind of conceptualizing how I can make that interest functional for the product that I want to use. Okay, Aurel Young says, I'll grab a beer this week and breeze through your other posts to get up to speed. Okay, Aurel, I think you'll enjoy them. My posts are pretty eclectic. Sonia Stone, I'm a chef and provide a service, but everyone is asking for a product. Mm. Now, Sonia, that's interesting. What kind of products are they asking you for? Seasoning packets, recipe cards. Mm, I like that. Seasoning packets and recipe cards. Aurel, you're also a chef. Do you see and menus, Sonia? Aurel, do you have your customers in Dubai asking for seasoning packets and recipe cards and menus? Aurel Young, have you ever tried to move 10 kilograms of seasoning through an airport, Sonia? Sonia Stowe, people are busy here. No one has time to meal prep. Aurel Young, I created seasoning packs to hand out at events. Aurel, were you advertising those to sell or even planned for the weeks? Aurel Young, just for a promotion. I can tell you all, I have a friend who does catering for the Turner Broadcasting Network, and her husband made, I forgot the name of his seasoning package, but it was really good. Her husband made seasonings and he was financed from a GoFundMe campaign. He raised $4,000 and made his packets, put it in little silver containers, and then he stopped. He didn't go anywhere with it. He didn't try to sell it. It was excellent. I received a couple for free, and I started purchasing them. Aurel Young, I sold sauces and rubs in New York City. Cool, congrats. Aurel Young, harder to get lost, ending to that in Dubai. Oh, licensing. Okay. Now, why is that? Why is that, Aurel? Why is it harder to get licensing in Dubai? Aurel, HAC, I cannot see this. HACOP laws are super strict here. Okay. Hospitality? Oh, okay. And what does HACCP stand for, Aurel? I mean, Sonia? I would have to get approval from the government. Mhm. Oh, hazard and critical control points. Okay. So, Sonia, before I forget or go on to my next topic, I am curious as to how how useful the video was to you, that first video. Hazard analysis, critical control points. hmm Great points about high and long times of selling. Did it sound as if it would make sense for a beginner trying to use the tool just as a starter to understand how to where to begin to market? Like what was lacking in that? What other points would you like to see brought out about Google Trends? Or did it seem to summarize what was needed? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sonia Stowe help manage inventory. Okay, that's good. I wish I could show you my screen. What is this right here? This there's something here that I'm afraid to touch. I'll have to go come back on live and just play around with things, and then because I want to be able to have another live stream and kind of talk about Google Streams while I'm talking to people. Great, Sonia Stowe. Great starting place was very thorough. That's good. Thank you. So what else I can do with this? I was just watching someone else's live stream yesterday, and they easily switched over to their screen. I don't know why. Okay, I hope I don't lose you all. If I lose you all, I'll come right back. I'm going to click on this button here. Nah, all right, that's not it. I don't know. There are no other buttons for me to touch, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, so Sonia Stowe, I just need to decide what product to market. Okay, so Sonia, I hope the video helped you a little bit in terms of typing in those products. And I think before you came on, I was just telling Aurel that a good way to start is to don't let emotion rule what you want to sell. When you're starting out, go by the analysis. Go by what it appears most people want to purchase. But it sounds like you were able to do a little bit of analysis just from interacting with your clients because they're asking for recipes and menus and seasoning packets. So that's a good place to start. Oh, good. You do surveys. That's good. Oh, that's excellent. You're doing your analysis. So, what I'm going to do tomorrow, if not tonight, is post another video up. And I'm going to, now that I'm a little more familiar with how to use the technology and record my screen, I'm going to post up. All right, Aurel. All right, almost 4 a.m. I'm out. Thank you. Thank you. I'll have more exciting live streams at different times. Hello, Frankie Robertson. How are you doing? All right, Orel. No problem. And thank you for coming on my very first live stream, or second one, rather. Hi, Frankie. I was just getting ready to start the second part of my video. We talked a little bit about Google Trends. I was trying to share my screen while I'm live so that I could kind of go through some things with you all, but it's not working. There may be a software that I have to download to my computer in order to do that. I'll have to do a little research on that. I tell you, one day I'll be perfect at this. So, what I wanted to do was, after discussing Google Trends and discussing the importance of using it as a research tool, I want to answer any questions that anybody may have about Google Trends, and then we'll go on to. I'll talk a little bit about the business that I'm starting after doing my own research, and then we can talk about other things if you have time. Okay, so I'll just wait for your questions to come. Oh, Frankie, how long have has your channel been up? My channel, I started posting up videos probably about, I want to say a year ago, but then I posted two or three videos and I got cold feet because I just realized how important it is, to do this consistently and how much exposure it gives you. Plus, there's so much out there that's just negative. I didn't want to be a part of that. So on my very first video, it was a political video, and the feedback was neutral, pretty much, some pros and cons, but I didn't like the attention, so I came off. But then I've always wanted to have a channel because I have a lot of interesting things I'm involved in, and I didn't see a lot of people talking about the things that I like to do because I watch a lot of YouTube. Frankie Robinson. I watch a lot of YouTube homesteader channels, so I was happy when I ran across yours. I have not yet adventured into the world of permaculture. That is on the list. I can tell you what I'm doing right now. So I am working with the county that I live in, and they've been coming out to my property and just doing inspections and surveys because what I want to do is turn my property into a farm. I would like to have some animals on one side, and then I have to have agriculture on another side. And because I'm doing both of those, and also plan on selling my products, at least the vegetables, I there are a lot of regulations that I have to contend with. But in the meanwhile, while I'm going through that survey process with the county, I've decided to take a couple of acres of my land and start and do my beginner garden. It's Oh, so you're a permaculture junkie, Sonia Stout, Frankie and Sonia. Are you two doing that now? Hmm. Awesome. Permaculture is life and will familiarize you with access, water, structure, and the orientation of putting your business. Frankie Robertson, Verge Permaculture. Ah, you're a master gardener. Sonia, I'm gonna use your Use your knowledge. You will hear from me. You said Verge Permaculture is who I study with. Okay. Tell me about Verge Permaculture, Frankie. Sonia Stowe, get soil tests, use me up. Sonia, I will. I promise you. I will. Now, Sonia, I'm going to for the starter garden, just for the beginning, before I actually get the larger part of my vegetable gardens up and running. I was going to use raised garden beds. What's your take on that? Hmm. Frankie Robertson. Awesome. Rob and Michelle Avis were two mechanical engineers who traveled the world. However, they wanted a better life. Meanwhile, someone introduced them to permaculture, and the rest was history. I will look them up, Frankie. Okay, Sonia Stowe, connect with your local extension office. Hmm. Frankie Robinson, yes to the raised garden beds, but it's so much more. Hmm. Sonia Stowe, they're great. They work well if you have not had time to do a cell test. I've already begun making my compost. I have like three different compost bins that I've been working with. Sonia Stowe, I do raised bed and then soil back to Eden method is great. Frankie Robertson, it's all about creating systems. Oh yeah, the compost has been fun. I don't have a garbage disposal, so it's been nice being able to collect my pile of scraps and throw them in there and watch it deteriorate. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Sonia Stowe, remember, it's all about the soil. Yes, Frankie, I will. I will get chickens, and that's part of that's part of the regulations that I have. Part of the regulations that I have to follow with my county. It's because I want to sell eggs eventually. The county does not want me to bring any chickens in until they inspect my chicken coop. So I'm actually going to do a video, and I don't know if I show anybody or show you all the pictures of the structures that are currently here. There's already an established chicken coop here. It has about a pen of about, I would say, 5 feet by 14 feet long that surrounds one side of the pen. And then inside, there's enough space in there for about, it looks like maybe about 10 chickens from what I could see. And then there were lights, heat, water, everything. But they told me that they would not grandfather in anything that had occurred prior to me purchasing the property. So I'm waiting for that inspection to occur. Let me see. Tanya, still, I need some eggs. Thank you. No. So the first video that you saw, that man, that was the older gentleman. I don't know if you remember, he had overalls on. We could not agree. We could not agree on the price. I felt as if the house needed a lot of work. And normally I would not mind working with the house that needed some work, but I have so many other things going on, my tax business, some things that I sell on Amazon, some investment property. I just didn't have time, and I work full time, so I just did not want. I did not want to purchase a home that I would have to renovate or work on. Not this time. I've done that in the past. So that that home fell through, but the next day this home opened up. So the other home was 12 acres. And that was my very first. That was my very first video. This home is 9 acres. It doesn't have a pond, but it has a well. And there were about 3 to 4 acres of land that's already cleared. So Sonia, you say about 10 chickens is about 15 eggs a day, or is that one chicken is 15 eggs a day? Frankie Robertson, do you watch any homesteading channels? I do. I wrote down my channels, and I'm looking for. You should see my office. I'm looking for the paper where I wrote down the channels. I want to get some channels to shout out. I may have to switch over for a moment and go online so I can tell you the channels that I like to watch. I'm subscribed. If you go, oh, actually, if you go to my page, to my channel page, it shows you the channels I'm subscribed to. I think I'm subscribed to about 10 homesteading channels. Okay. So Sonya said about 1 to 2 eggs per day. Now I remember when I was growing up, I remember getting about 1 egg a day from a chicken growing up. Right, and that's really interesting, Frankie. It's interesting, and I don't know if you remember my first video about the reverse pioneering. And Sonia, I don't know if you saw my first video too about reverse pioneering. So I remember, I distinctly remember, but I was growing up that most people, not just black people or white people or whoever, most people lived in rural settings growing up, and we didn't move to the city. The areas where we lived kind of evolved into more urban areas as more people came to the area. And then they started selling their land off or losing their land and then subdividing it and putting subdivisions on it. The cities kind of popped up around us, but homesteading is just it's a very natural place to be and a natural state to be in. It's not natural to live in an urban environment. Now I like the city. I like the fun, like the convenience, but for long term living, it can be a little weary to the spirit. And Sonya said, look at laying hens and it varies based on lighting. Okay, I get what you're saying. Sonya, do you recommend also getting a rooster? Are you Robertson? Very natural, right? Frankie, you say we need your voice, so stick around. I am going to stick around. The only way I'll leave is if you all tell me I hate your videos, go away. Then I'll go away. But no, I am new to this. I am new to this, and so my videos will probably be a little shaky in the beginning, but I'm going to make an effort to post more frequently. And with that, I hope to become better at this. Sonia Stowe. If you want to wake up early, Sonia, I'm up at between 3:30 and 4 every morning. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm up, so I'll do it. That's not a problem for me. Frankie Robertson, my permaculture teacher, says his job is to post a video per day. That is so amazing. Because you have to make that video and then edit it and then post it. That's a good idea, though. I need to just make that plan. There is a YouTuber I watch named Deborah Cooper, and she posts up, she has like on February's are her one video a day series, and it's a lot of work. I believe she's kind of semi-retired, but it brings interest to her topics, and she's really good at what she does. Sonia Stowe, roaster if you want to fertilize the eggs to produce baby chicks. Okay, okay. Sonia Stowe, I want to do one a week. Sonia, I can't remember if I subscribed to you or not. I will if I haven't. And you too, Frankie. Do you post up videos, Sonia? Frankie Robertson. Appalachian Homestead by Katari was an ex-gemologist, who started out urban homesteading. Now she has a full-blown farm, and her specialty is chickens. Does she have a channel? We need to go see her. Look at her channel. Frankie Robinson. Robertson. You have to do what works for you. Sonia So you did? No, not yet. Okay. So Sonia, you also know Katari? Well, I have to subscribe to that channel. And Joel, that skeleton. Okay. Okay. Sonia Stowe. I will do meal planning and cooking videos. I love those. I love those. I've gotten some of my best recipes from YouTube. I love watching people prepare it too. It gives me good tips. Frankie, do you have a channel? Do you have videos? Mm. Frankie Robertson. It all depends where you want to go because I just didn't wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to do homesteading." Actually, my passion led me to homesteading, which is horses. So now I am currently looking for land. Good for you. Now that is fascinating to me, Frankie. What led to your passion for horses? Okay, so you haven't posted yet, but you're studying. Okay. So Frankie and Sonia, you're both looking for land. How much land do you want? Mm-hmm. 10 acres is nice. Frankie, do you want to do hardcore homesteading? Do you want to build your own home on the land, or do you want a home, or you want the homestead to be there and you just build around it? I decided to buy land that already had a home on it. So your husband wants 100+ acres. What is he gonna do with 100 acres? Actually, you can do a lot with that. Does he want to subdivide and sell, or that's amazing? Oh, Frankie, you're gonna love them, the straw bale portion of my videos. Because once I get organized this summer, we are going to build a straw bale structure on the property. You're gonna like that. I'm gonna make it a guest house. I have a lot of thinking to do, some decisions to make because I'm doing too much. I really am. Just just the fact that I was rushing here back, rushing home from work to take care of my dog and get myself set up. And I also had my phone was ringing off the hook because of my tax clients. I do tax preparation. I do tax preparation and everything else I'm doing. So I had a conversation with my dad the other day, and he made the comment that I needed to make a decision on letting something go, namely my main job, so that I could focus on everything else. And so I'm at a really critical point right now where I have to make some good decisions. Frankie Robertson, my little homestead channel, you should check them out. Okay, my little homestead. They build eco village for this family with earth bags. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Hmm. Sonia Stowe, I want to put up small cabins and do homesteading classes on my land for families and kids, along with farm to table cooking. I like that. And Sonia, what material are you thinking about using for your small cabins? Traditional log cabins? Yes, Sonia, you're right. I am. I have requested some time off, a couple of weeks in the end of April. I'm hoping I get approval for that, and that's the time I need to kind of get away from the grind for a moment and just decide how deep I want to go into these other activities that are not related to my job. Mm-hmm. You're right, Frankie. After watching numerous channels, you will learn that most people who homestead, there's actually one partner who works outside the home, and one person consumes the farm or covers the farm. What she meant to say? Yes, I have noticed that, and that's a dilemma for me because I'm single, right? And so I'll have to. It's again, and that's why I have to make a decision on whether or not I keep working because I love the income I make, but I also make income from the other endeavors. I guess it's more of like a safety blanket for me, like it's a guaranteed income coming in that allows me to explore these other options. My dog's name is Zeus, after the god of war, and I named him Zeus because when I purchased him in California, he was 8 weeks old. No, he was 16 weeks old, and he was a litter and a litter of about 10 puppies. His mother and father were massive. I pulled up, I had an SUV, and I pulled up in my Toyota 4Runner. And you know how high an SUV is. The dogs, his parents came, the heads came to the top of my window. And I was like, oh, these are bears. So I just knew he was going to be that big. He's not quite that big, but he's a good size. Oh, Frankie Robertson meant to say doing all the work. So my point is don't be in a rush. It takes time. I agree. You're right. It will reveal itself to you. Just keep showing up. I will, Frankie. I will keep showing up. Sonia Stowe, traditional log and small yurts. Oh yeah, there are some beautiful yurts in Northern California. Beautiful. I think what I'll do is I'll post. just one video before we start the Straw Bale series. I'll post a video of images. Of course, I'll get permission first from people, but I'll post a video of images of all these different varieties of homes that exist. I had the opportunity to work with a group in Northern California as a volunteer to help build yurts. I didn't have the time, and I was too consumed with straw bale and adobe building. But the yurts were beautiful, very creative. Yes, Zeus. Zeus looks like a big bear. Everyone's afraid of him, which I'm happy about. But he won't do anything. He's a very kind dog. I've trained him well. Frankie Robertson and Sonia, I am still considering living in a yurt until I get my structure built. Frankie, if you do that, I want to see that. Take pictures. Sonia Stowe, is it Crixus, Dakota, and Malia? Or is that Mela? Let me see. Mela. Two boys, they're little mates, and one girl, Mela, all rescues. Oh, that's beautiful. Frankie Robertson. This is why you need to get into permaculture because we do what we call permablitz, where your community will assist you in building your straw bale. Yes, yes, I was used to that in California. It was a beautiful experience. And no, and people wanted nothing in return. It was just friendship. I have lots of great friendships that I built from all the experiences I had within the home building, Adobe and straw bale. And then if they wanted something built, we go to their home. Frankie, I can't see you staying in the Midwest long. You're a California person, possibly a Southern person. Sonia Stowe, so thrilled that we have a community of like-minded people. Yes. Me neither. You can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. That's right. Sonia, yep, Southern. I get you. Okay, so my current plans. I have a couple of different priorities. My main priority is to work with the county of Rockdale over a consistent period. They told me it would take about 2 to 3 months to complete the surveys and can complete the analysis of my soil and the analysis of the water and everything and my boundary lines before they can let me know what I'll be approved to do. Because I'm trying to get an official designation of a farm. Now, I don't need their approval to bring in animals or fruits and vegetables, but since I plan on selling some of the items, I need their approval. That's one thing. That's an ongoing issue. My second priority is to get my starter garden going, and you can't see it, but I'll show you all in another video. There's about 2 acres of land near the front and side of my home where I'm going to start planting. Um, the back part of my home, like behind the pool and behind the fence, is where the majority of the acreage is. So I have, you're all going to kill me when I tell you this. I have 2 or 3 friends who have already requested that they be allowed to get married here. So I'm preparing the land in the back for my friends for their marriages and their wedding parties. But my main plan right now is just to prepare the land for farming, for my starter garden, and then the third priority is preparing for the first straw bale structure, which will be in the back of the property. Mm. Sonia Stowe, get seedings this planting time. Yes, I actually have. I've already started. Yeah, I haven't shown you this room downstairs. It gets plenty of sun. I have probably two walls filled with all of my seedlings from for different fruits and vegetables. They're going to go in the ground. He said, check out Diego Footer. Okay. Oh, so Footer is all about farming and business. Good. I'm getting some great information from you all. I love it. I cannot wait. So, and while I'm doing those things, I'm going to continue working until I make a decision on whether or not I'm going to quit. And I also have my tax business. I actually am going to start a separate channel for my tax business called Let's Talk Taxes. It's actually already up. I just haven't posted anything yet. And on that channel, I'm going to give tax advice and bookkeeping advice for individuals and businesses. So lots of stuff going on. And that's why when I posted up the the summary on the about channel section, I didn't know what to say my channel was about, and I just said I have a lot of different things that that I'm involved in and that I've done. So I am going to talk about everything as it occurs. It's just going to naturally flow as it occurs. Yes, Sonia, I have my seedling started. I did that as soon, actually, I did that before I moved, and I was still staying in my apartment. My apartment was a mess. I had a whole wall that was probably half of it was a bay window where I had all my seedlings, and I started more seedlings when I moved here. Like as soon as I moved in, I set up my grow lights, and I just cleared out one room just for my seedlings. So I got a good start on that. No, Frankie, I have not made any soap yet. That's something I'm interested in. I'll probably do a video on it at some point. I'll attempt it. Yes, let's talk taxes. Hi, S. Weisman, how are you doing? I just saw you. Sonia still stack all the currency you can before you quit. Yes, I know. Because right now I'm comfortable, but if I quit that job, I will have to probably eat ramen noodles for about a year, which is fine. Which is fine. You know, sometimes it requires that kind of sacrifice. Frankie Robertson, I'm interested in bookkeeping and taxes. Oh, great. You have a P10. Have you started to doing taxes yet? Now I don't give bookkeeping classes. I just do bookkeeping for people. Yes, I have some clients I've worked with for years. And of course, after the bookkeeping, I do the taxes for them and they refer me out to people. But that's something I could talk about too for those who need assistance. I could talk about taxes and bookkeeping. Yes, yes, Frankie's and ramen noodles. I know, and I can't stand ramen noodles. S. Wiseman, have you found a video on how you found your land? I'm trying to see, did I do that? I know I did a video on the first land that I almost purchased, and I didn't do a video on this one, but that's a great idea. I will do it. But I can tell you now, um, So, I don't know if you saw my very first video as Wiseman. In that very first video, I talked about how I was looking for a home with my real estate agent, and then I told her that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go back to the country. And so we changed my whole search profile. And the very first home we found in the country was this beautiful, beautiful older home on 12 acres of land with a pond. And I wanted it. It was very beautiful. And if you saw the video, I showed you pictures of the pond and the land and the acreage. But the home was much older. And I'm at that point where I don't want to spend my time renovating. I just want to move in and be comfortable because I do so many other things that require my time. So after, much going back and forth, negotiations fell through for the first home. And this home popped up on the profile like the next day. I went to see it. I came here actually with my dad and my sister and brother and came to see it, and it was just amazing. I placed an offer on it that day before anybody else found it. This home has 9 acres, doesn't have a pond, but it has a well, and it's on county water, but it has a septic system, a separate well system for the entire property, and there's already like piping and fittings beneath the land and strategic places. There's a creek that runs about 4 feet high, and there's a pool. It's already partially fenced, and it used to be a farm years ago. So it was within my price range. I purchased a home with equity in the home and decided to go for it. That's a brief summary. I'll give you more detail on the actual video. That's kind of a summary. Who's this Eric? Who is this Eric McGriff? I just saw you. You said women need to stay in the kitchen. Reggie Robertson, you need to marry an Amish woman at Eric McGriff. Sonya Stowe, don't hate on ramen. Put some bok choy and your favorite veggies. Omit the seasoning packet. Use chicken or gravy broth instead and enjoy. You know what, Sonya? That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. I may end up having to do that. I'll tell you, when I first started like engaging in different little hustles and businesses to earn money to save, I I had to be very creative with my eating, very very creative, and just eating vegetables and broth went a long way. Yeah, bok choy is good, Frankie. So, Frankie, my motivation to get the land, there were various motivations. The first thing was I remember how I was raised as a child. We had space and we had room. I remember seeing just expansive land and grounds to run on. I remember the pride my family had in their home and in their land. And just the idea that, you know, we didn't use the word estate then, but it was like our piece of heaven. That's what having land is to me. It is my piece of the earth. And there's something different from having land, especially several acres of land, compared to living in the city where you have your little piece of a lot and all these people on top of you. I also remember and feel like right now that you can have your own like micro enterprise. You can have your own community of family living with you and friends on that land. I just love the feeling of community that it fosters. which is different from the community that you see in the city. I also wanted to be able to have land that would allow me to create businesses to take care of myself if I never wanted to work for other people. And I knew that owning land would give me the best possibility to be as creative as I needed to be. That much I remember. My grandfather used to cut wood and sell that wood on his land. He had like acres and acres of wood that he was able to sell. We lived on a small, they moved from their larger home to a smaller lot closer into the city, but they had a grove of pecan trees that we would play in. And I remember all of the various industries that were born from that land. We used to sell pecans. My grandmother would, and my aunt would make, my great aunt would make pecan pies. There were events held on that land. I just remember that we appeared to be very self-sufficient. And there were other people, Frankie, who made soap, who sold goat's milk, sold cow milk, butter. And I understand that we're in a time now that is more technologically advanced, but I've never lost that feeling of wanting to own more than just a house. Hmm. Yes, my grandfather knew what time it was. He did. He was a brick mason. He only had a third grade education. My grandfather, my mom's dad, had a third grade education, but he, taught himself brick masonry, purchased his first truck. I don't know how he did that. He had a small red and white truck and gathered a crew of men. And he would go around town in Greenville, Mississippi, building fireplaces and homes out of brick. He was one of the best brick masons there ever was. He actually took a two-bedroom house that he purchased, his original house, and he turned that house from a wooden home, a wooden shotgun house, to this three bedroom, two living room, kitchen home made out of brick. We actually had brick on the floors. It was amazing. Hmm. Yes, Sonia. Pecan trees are amazing. Pear trees, apple trees. Back then, everybody had pear and apple trees in their yard. Sonia Stowe, that's interesting. So your father taught you how to lay brick. I have a story about that. So when I was 16 years old, I couldn't find no, I was 15. I couldn't find a job. I wasn't old enough then to work in an official job. And I was walking around town asking people, did they need their lawn cut? Did they need babysitting? And there was nothing. There was just nothing there. And so I was just sitting there just broke. And I remember coming up to my grandfather one day and asking him if I could work with him. Could he teach me how to lay brick? And he looked at me because back then I was the same height that I am now. I was 5'10", but I was probably 115 pounds. I was like this. I was this big. And I said, Granddaddy, can I please go out with you and earn some money? I'll work for anything. I just want to earn some money because I broke. And my grandmother fought, didn't want me to go. My mom didn't really want me to go, but they let me. And my grandfather said to them, I heard him say to them, "Don't worry, she's going to quit after the first day. It's 99 degrees outside. It's very hot. Those bricks are heavy. I'm just going to have her just towing bricks and the wheelbarrow the whole time for the men. Don't worry." So that morning I got up. My grandmother made My grandfather and I had a large breakfast, and I didn't eat much back then, so I picked on my food. I was excited about going out to do the brick mason work with my grandfather, and it was probably 6 a.m. when we left out, maybe even 5, no, about 6 a.m. And my grandfather went around picking up about 5 different men from around town who all hopped in the back of the pickup truck. When we got to the work site, it was 7 o'clock and it was already too hot. I was sweating in the truck. He didn't have any air conditioning. I was getting dehydrated. I was drinking my water. I remember thinking, oh, wow, what did I get myself into? But I really needed to earn some money. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I put on my hat and jumped out there with everybody else. And my grandfather said, okay, Kenya, your job is to take these bricks over there, place 20 to 30 bricks in his wheelbarrow, and roll them to the men. All the men looked at me, and Frankie Robertson, will you say hello to my 14-year-old son, Edward? He is watching. Hi, Edward. How are you doing? So happy to see you. Well, I can't see you. I'm happy that you can see me and that you're watching. So I took the bricks. I measured 20, 25 bricks in the wheelbarrow, and I wheeled them over. Each man had a spot on the wall or in this structure they were building. And I would dump the bricks out and then go get more. That's all I did from 7 a.m. to like 10, 7 a.m. to 10. I never stopped. My arms were aching. I was tired and I was sweating. And at different times, my grandfather would just look at me and then he'd just shake his head and keep working. And then at 10 o'clock, he made me stop and drink some water and go sit in the cool air, in the shade rather. So this went on all day. Around lunchtime, we went home, we ate lunch. I wasn't hungry, I was tired, and I was hot. I ate a couple of bites, went back out, and then at 2 o'clock, I said, Granddaddy, can you show me how to lay the bricks? I want to do the mortar. I want to learn how to mix it, and I want to learn how to lay it. And he said, I'll show you tomorrow. No worries, just keep on rolling the bricks. So at this time, it was 4 o'clock. It was time to go. And my grandmother just looked at me and I was exhausted. I couldn't talk. My legs hurt, my back hurt. The sun had just made me I was just dark from the sun, sweating. And when I got home that night, I just took a shower and went straight to bed. Didn't even eat dinner. Remember, I'm already this big at this point. So the next day I got up. I was ready. I was aching. I was hurting, but I got up and I was ready to go. And I beat my grandfather to the truck. And he said, oh, you're coming? I said, yes. And he didn't say anything. So this went on for 5 days. Friday came and he finally showed me how to mix the mortar and lay the brick. And I did a really good job at it. I actually was better, Sonia, I was better at laying brick than a couple of the men. And my grandfather said, huh, you're good at this. I said, well, I've been watching you. So we got home that evening. I heard some muffled conversation between my grandmother and my grandfather and then my mom. The next week on Monday, I hopped up ready to go, and my grandmother was standing in front of the door. My grandfather was in the truck pulling off. And my grandmother said, she said, no, that's not for you. That's for men. Men should do that. That's not for women. That's not a job that girls should be doing. I don't want you out there with all of those musty men and, just sit in the house. If you need money, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now, keep in mind, I had just received my pay. My grandfather had paid me like $150, which to me, back in 85, that was a lot of money for someone who had no money. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, if I can do this every week, I'll be fine through the summer. And so That was it. It only lasted 1 week. I couldn't keep going. My grandmother and my mom did not think it was appropriate work for a young girl to do, and they did not want me out there with the men. But I felt as if, I didn't care about the gender issue. I just wanted to earn money, and there didn't appear to be any other avenue to earn it. Now there were other avenues. I just didn't want to go that route because they were illegal. And those other avenues were all over the neighborhood. But I think y'all been talking over here. Let me see what y'all are saying. Let me see. Hmm. Okay. Yes, 150 dollars is a lot of money for anybody back then, but definitely for a teenager, especially a broke teenager. I don't need a chore. I'm telling you, Frankie, tell your son how easy he has it right now. Oh my. We had when I think about it, I may not have had a typical childhood actually because there was a lot of struggle involved in it, but not that I resent that now at all. It actually made me, you know, um, a very dedicated person in terms of getting things done. But I did appreciate the ability to earn. So as wise when you say illegal, yes, yes, there were many illegal things in my neighborhood that I could have been involved in. I lived in what you would call today the hood, but we didn't call it the hood then. It was just a neighborhood where most of us, were working class or poor. And it was probably the beginning of the neighborhood before it became the hood. Okay. It was still a place you could walk through and stay up all times of the day and night on your front porch if you wanted to. There was no gunfire, things like that. But around my neighborhood, there were other areas that were starting to deteriorate. And so I mean, people came up to me and asked me to do things that were illegal, you know, and there were lots of kids my age who just gave in. They asked me to to transport packages, and I knew I had enough sense to say no. I was asked to sell drugs. I said no. I was asked some other things I'm not going to say on this channel, but I said no. I had a really good support system, and I just knew not to do those things. But because the area was so poor, and I'm from Greenville, Mississippi, and if you look up Greenville, Mississippi, it is considered, what is that called? Oh, the disenfranchised. I don't know if it's disenfranchised area. I just forgot the word, but there's a word. There's an official term that government uses for certain areas of the South, and it's one of the poorest areas in the South and the Delta. It's definitely disenfranchised. So, if you don't have a strong support system, if you don't have family, and if you around you who are encouraging you to do the right thing, it's very easy to say, "I'm going to do this instead to earn what I have to earn." But I just went without. Sonia Stowe, we should encourage young women to learn the craft of brick masonry. Oh, I agree. I agree. It was it was it was such an accomplishment to be able to help build a wall. As wise, and I'm curious about those illegal avenues you didn't pursue, Frankie. Okay, I will tell you, I already told you 2 of them about being a transporter and a drug dealer. Um, the 3rd one was, yeah, there were people who came up to me as a young lady and propositioned me. There were for money. There were lots of predators in those neighborhoods because they know people are struggling, and I never entertained any of that. Frankie Robertson, yes, I want to get out of the city, get my son out of the city, and grow up like I did. Hmm. Frankie Robertson, I am proud of you, and you'll get a lot of advice from us, but most importantly, we want you to be successful in which you already are. Thank you, Frankie. Yes, right now my son is in a critical stage in his life. That's interesting. It's interesting. You know, I don't have any children, but lots of my friends have children right now, and most of them are teenagers or preteens, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting, Frankie, how this is the age where the children they love their parents dearly, right? And they're still obedient, but at the same time, you have access and exposure to all of these other avenues and ways of thinking and being, right? And now they have the added burden or the added benefit, depending on how you see it, of social media. And so this is where the rubber meets the road. This is their first crossroads, where they have to decide how much of their parents' teachings and philosophies they will incorporate into their decision making. It's extremely critical. However, you will keep pounding permaculture, Frankie, good, because everything gardens. So, everyone, I love talking to you, and I hope this live stream has been beneficial. Not many people have come on, but that's okay. I think we've had a good time. I'm glad you enjoyed the chat, Sonia. Good. I'm glad it was beneficial. I want to go back to before I close out. Oh, Frankie Robertson, yes, I completely agree with you in regards to the rites of passage, and we will keep you here all night. So you have to let us know that hey, peeps have life. Oh, Frankie, you just ran across my channel this weekend. I am so glad. How did you find my channel? Was it a recommendation, or were you typing in a certain keyword? So, oh, good. Okay, you two are giving me a shout out. I like that. You know, I struggled, and I think a couple of videos back I talked about I struggled with the idea of whether or not I was going to continue, but I've decided to continue. And a lot of that was I didn't know if I had anything that people wanted to hear because I see all of these amazing channels and the effects and the designs and the graphic design, and I was like, well, my videos aren't going to be that jazzy, and I'm not good yet with the technology part of it, but I have a different kind of voice, and my channel is not going to just be homesteading, and it's not going to just be gardening, and it's not just going to be the farm. It's going to be a variety of things. As you saw, if you've gone through my videos, I also have a series on HIV. I have some more videos to post about that. And I talk about my family as descendants of slaves, and that's very fascinating. I'm actually going to have an interview with my sister, who is amazing. And I'm not going to tell her business. I want to tell it because you would be even more excited to hear from her if you knew what she used to do and what she is now. I want to have her here on the channel to do a live hangout. Maybe I'll get her to come in and sit with me in the channel. And I'm going to have my father. I have not mentioned him much, but he has a great role to play in this story. So there's lots of things that I want to talk about. And so I'm pretty much just gonna have like just, I guess you could say, just series, the HIV series, the homesteading series, the farming series, and family series as I go through this. But whatever I do, every topic will be positive. I hate to hear and see the negativity that does exist on YouTube. And I'm hoping that this is something that just kind of stays nice and clean, so you can learn from. But I also want to learn from you all because you all are brilliant. Like really, I am continually amazed at how much just the everyday person knows about a variety of topics. Frankie, you said the only reason. Oh, Sonia, you said that my I popped up in your list of channels. And Frankie, so the only reason you don't have a channel up and running is because you don't have your land. However, I am always developing context in my mind. Hilda Starry channel is awesome. She's spiritual. She also uses the back to Eden method. So Frankie, I would challenge you to start your channel even without your land. I think because I think you're fascinating. You and Sonia and S. Wiseman with his sense of humor, you all are just fascinating. Just talking to you on the chat, and that's what kept me from posting more. Is because I just didn't know if people wanted to hear what I had to say. But I subscribe to people that just sit there in the living room and just talk about like their dogs. I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by it. People are amazing. So I would say, even as you're going through the contextual part of your land ownership, that you should think about letting us hear your thoughts in that area. And then you can have a live chat, and then we can get on your live chat and help you kind of work through how to get your land. And by the way, I am going to have more videos up about the different things I did over the years, the legal things that I did over the years to earn money outside of a job. And I'll go into detail about that. Frankie Robertson. You see, in permaculture, we look at it like this. Like this. There is no us versus them. We are all in this together. I need my glasses. I can't find them. And that's true. It's like you said, the lady who offered you advice and saving for your investment advice. Okay, check out Beck's Homestead. Okay. I will do that. Beck's Homestead. Sonia, thank you for supporting Frankie to start his channel. Hey, Jewel, I just saw you. Oh, Jewel, you're from Oakland? I miss Oakland. Welcome, Jewel. Jill, you missed some good conversation, but I'm going to have this posted up so you can catch some of the conversation we've had. Oh, Becky's Homestead. Okay. Okay. You all have given me some great channels I'm going to add. I already have a very huge list of channels that I subscribe to. Joel, we were Sonia and I were just here trying to convince Frankie to start his channel. Okay, Sonia, I will do it again, and thank you so much. Okay, Frankie, I will try Diego Footer. You say you're female? Oh, yes, 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 I know that. Good night, Sonia, and thank you so much again. Jewel, I'm so happy to see you, and now I'm about to leave because I'm exhausted. I have to be ready for work tomorrow. Good night, Jewel. Okay, and good night, Frankie. And I might come back on later on. I need to figure out how to share my screen while I'm going live because I want to be able to do that. Other people do it, and I can't seem to do it. I'll have to get on YouTube help and figure this out. Thank you, Frankie. I'm glad I make you smile. I really am. And thank you for your prayers. I appreciate all prayers. I believe in prayer. And good night, Edward. Oh, that's okay, Jewel. I'm curious when you turn on the when you replay the video. I'm curious for your feedback. I think it was kind of dry in the beginning, but it'll get better. I promise. I told Frankie that I am going to post frequently, and I might even attempt to post once a day. But there will be another live stream on Thursday with my sister Simone, who is a fascinating person. All right, good night, Frankie. Good night, Edward. And good night, Jewel. Good night, YouTube. How do I turn this off? I do not know how to turn this off. Good, Frankie. I'm glad you're looking forward to it.